Good morning. Happy Friday. I am sorry I couldn't be there with you today. I have a 2-day retreat with leadership tomorrow, which is a great privilege, but we'll be going all day today and all day tomorrow, and it's very difficult to step out in the middle. So since I couldn't be there, I wanted to video record a few tips and practices that are helpful when working with the King County Children and Youth Advisory Board. So here are some things that I think you need to know. The CYAB is currently a 32-person board of individuals who come from all over and all corners of King County. They are charged with serving in an advisory and oversight role for a Best Starts for Kids, the King County Youth Action Plan, and the Puget Sound Taxpayer Accountability Account, also known as PASTA. For the most part, our board members represent themselves, not the entities they work for or are affiliated with. The exception is designated positions from the City of Seattle, the City of Bellevue, and 2 positions appointed by Sound Cities Association, also known as the SCA. We have 3 positions on the CYAB that are designated for youth positions or youth members 24 years of age or younger, and we do currently have about 5 members that fall into that category. The CYAB currently has 2 subcommittees and a work group, which will also soon morph into a 3rd subcommittee. The subcommittees are the Youth Justice Subcommittee, the Young Leaders Subcommittee, and the Young Leaders is for members who are 29 years of age and younger, not to be confused with the designated youth positions, but includes the designated youth. Finally, the PASTA, Puget Sound Taxpayer Accountability Account Work Group, soon to become the PASTA Advisory Subcommittee. This subcommittee is unique because it will eventually include members of the community who are not county executive or county council appointed, but those members will not be serving on your work groups. So no need to worry about that. The CYAB also holds a monthly co-chair meeting, which includes Sheila and myself, and an executive team meeting, which includes all the co-leads and co-chairs of the subcommittees. So here are some helpful tips that I want you to keep in mind while working with the board. The CYAB is fully subject to the Open Public Meetings Act. So if you're not familiar with what we call the OPMA for short, I can send you a link for training so you know what is and isn't allowed while working with the board. Right now, the most important thing that you need to know is that anytime we gather or email 11 or more members of the board, it constitutes a quorum. And the OPMA requires that an announcement goes out 24 hours to the public if you have a quorum, that minutes are taken if you have a quorum, and that all members of the public have full access to the meeting or email exchange as it takes place, which is very difficult to do. So what I ask everyone to do is anytime you email a group of people on the Children Youth Advisory Board, so I'm not talking 1 person or 2 people, I'm talking about a group of people. So your work group might be 11 or more people. Please do not send or put their names in the to or the CC line. Make sure that you're blind carbon copying members anytime you email them. It's not necessarily efficient or great when you do that, because if you want to have an exchange of ideas, it's hard. They have to email back to you and you have to reflect that back. But unfortunately, that protects us. Please also CC me anytime that you are emailing your work group. If you're just emailing an individual and it's nothing serious, you don't have to CC me. So again, please BCC members and CC me. If I feel that you're an exception, for example, Jessica will only have 2 or 3 people in her work group, she can email them back and forth and just BCC me, but I don't want anybody else to take that liberty. That includes Sheila and Marcy, because it does put us at risk for sanctions, and it puts us at risk for fines if anybody challenges it, and they can. And it can derail a whole entire process of trying to do something like an implementation plan. It can be challenged and challenged in court. So please don't do that. When storing documents for the CYAB, there's some challenges there too. We're in some interesting times, and the county has tightened up on our cybersecurity practices. We have been asked to tighten up on our use of Google Drive and other shared cloud services. So before you use anything to share documents, or you want people to work on a document together, make sure that you're checking in with the right folks in your IT department to make sure it is approved. Don't be like me and use Google Drive all the time. OneDrive is great, but in most cases, outside entities cannot access our OneDrives. It would be great if the board could do that since they have county emails. Also, if I didn't mention earlier, when you email board members, I'm going to give you a list. Use both their personal emails and their county emails. So make sure that you're copying both of those emails into the BCC. So back to documents. It's better to just email people directly documents. And if you're having a collaborative work product, you might have to be creative and just have them track changes and merge them. If I hear differently, because I'm pushing that we are able to use Google Drive and other things for that, I will let you know. Finally, take good notes. When you're meeting with board members, we are subject to the OPMA because you'll be meeting with them. The work groups will be convening during regular board meetings. Board meetings are open public meetings. So you will need to take very thorough notes during your breakout sessions. But a summary of the discussion should suffice for any public needs. Any decisions that you make as a work group or anything that you're pushing for, try to bring that back to the main board meeting where Charlene and I will be taking minutes and be able to make sure that that's captured in the record. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about our members and their time. So the CYAB members, like us, work full-time jobs. They volunteer in other spaces. They have families. They're dealing with COVID. They've been amazing during the coronavirus period, and their attendance has gone up almost 20% at their monthly meetings. But I really do try not to schedule too many things outside of that time because they're all zoomed out and it can be very difficult to get the members that you want there. But if you need to meet, don't be hurt if everyone can't be there. So if your work group does decide you need to meet for some reason outside of the board meetings, I don't anticipate that will happen, but it might. You might only get a few people, especially if it's during a time where other people are at work. But small meetings of the CYAB are sometimes the best meetings of the CYAB. Just make sure you take good notes and you share that with the rest of the group via email. So that's pretty much it. I have to head off to my 2-day retreat and I'm sorry I couldn't be there with all of you, but I hope this information was helpful. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me for the links to the OPMA or for any documentation from previous work group work or anything you need. So have a great weekend and cheers.